Alright, everybody, we are back, back in that ass with another episode of the Fear and Loathing, the podcast. And I am Shawn, as always, and
I am Joe, as always.
yes, and it
Except
is.
when I'm not Joe.
uh, uh, when does that happen?
I don't know when I'm not Joe.
when you're
My other aliases.
when you're a werewolf, by chance.
Yeah, it happened a few years ago. And wanting to talk about it.
Right, and what a time to talk about the time that you were a werewolf. Uh, when we talk about Teen Wolf, the movie, 1985, starring Michael J. Fox, has the best goddamn soundtrack of any movie I've ever seen.
It's so bizarre.
it's
Talking about wrestling wolves.
it's like something chocolate and sprinkles. That's your cake, and I'll eat it too, or some dumb shit like that.
Like, I was expecting, it's the 80s, so I was expecting, like I was telling Shawn at the beginning, like, expecting, or hip to be square, but nothing. None of that. Just some random bluesy dad rock that I didn't even know. And then, like, some out of nowhere music about a big bad wolf
Here, hold
going
on.
out a candle.
Big Bad Wolf was funny because it was just like talking like I think we were making jokes about it because we were like, who the fuck would wrestle a wolf? And it's like this just this guy who's like, I don't want to wrestle this wolf, but I will. And everybody's like, well, seriously, dude, you don't have to do that. He's like, guys,
It's dangerous.
I know it's really dangerous, but I'll do it. And they're like, we never said you had to. He's like, I guess, guys, God, fine, I'll wrestle this wolf.
Hey. No, seriously, don't wrestle that wolf.
It has
Then he
rabies.
gets mauled. It's got rabies. It gets mauled, and everyone's like, "Why'd you guys do this? You do this? You're just wrestling." Like,
It's fucking ridiculous. Yeah. So some of
This
the
movie was a fucking trip.
I'm gonna put this fucking album on the way to work tomorrow. Like that's how much I enjoyed it. I don't really care about Surfing USA by the Beach Boys. Like I'll probably skip over that one. But like just like I don't know if we could. I'm pretty sure we could play like a little snippet of the song and just be like, so let me see. Like let's go to where is it? Okay, so during the basketball scene. By the way, this is a fucking sports movie disguised as a movie about a kid turning into a werewolf. This is all about basketball. This is the first time I've ever actually seen Teen Wolf, so I didn't really. I thought it was just like I thought he was gonna eat somebody. Like I was at least hoping, like he would like accidentally eat somebody, but yeah, he doesn't do any of that. he
Yeah.
he fucks somebody in wolf form. That happens.
And howls when he nuts.
Yeah, and that because that's how you know that's what was going down in that locker room. Even though this girl like gets naked and climbs on top of him, you see some side boob there, so you know what's going down. And then all of a sudden it cuts to the outside and it shows the vice principal, and he's like, "Ow!" And you're like, "Oh, he came." So that's what happens in this in that.
This
In this
movie
movie.
is basically Coach Carter, but with a werewolf.
And nobody's like questioning that he's a fucking werewolf. They're just like, yeah,
Yeah,
they're marketing
he's
it.
really hairy and he's good at basketball. That's basically what it is.
Yeah,
It's
but
like
so is the bully in the
there's
bully
not.
in this movie is also very hairy and good at basketball. So maybe it was just
Yeah,
a normal
and no
thing.
one's talking about him.
Yeah, and that's probably why he was bullying him because he's like, I'm hairy, I can do this, I'm good at
No
basketball.
one's hairier than me.
I also fucked the girl that we are fighting over. So, and
I woo when I finish.
maybe I'm a werewolf. But this fucking song, dude, hold on. Might need to turn it down a bit.
Funny how sometimes life just changes overnight.
Is it playing?
Yep.
Magically everything you do turns out so right.
You can't hear it?
Dark. Yeah.
You pull rabbits out of your hat. You're like a charm that even wizards can't explain.
Something about
Nintendo Power.
something about fucking wizards in the opening lines. It's like,
Oh, yeah. Making a rainbow out of a single drop of rain.
yeah. It's like, even wizards can't explain making a rainbow out of a single drop of rain. Gets into the fucking chorus. It's like, let me see.
Single drop of rain.
Rain.
Say, it's a trick you learn how to play. When you're shooting for the moon and finally make it, there's a lucky star shining on you.
It's a lucky star shining on you. That's that. That's a good song. I'm gonna listen to that. I'm listening to this soundtrack the whole way to work. Like, there's a song called "Boof," which is one of the characters. Before anybody knew what Boofin was, there was a character named Boof. What's up with in Michael J. Fox movies? There's always somebody named like Boof or Biff, like.
Yeah, I forgot about Biff.
Yeah, there's probably a movie where there's somebody named Beef. I mean, we got Chubby. That's pretty close.
Yeah, I thought his name was Chuck for the longest time.
Yeah, yeah. But he was like, "Hey, Chub. Hey, Chubs. What's going on?" And it's because he's a larger gentleman. He is quite the man of meat. Yeah. He's rotund.
Rotund.
And he's the fat kid. Like but he looks like he's 34.
He looked old as shit.
Yeah, he had like laugh lines and shit. It was bad. Like that dude.
Even the bully looked like he was like 35.
Oh yeah, he was definitely Asian. He was up there. But Michael J. Fox, he's perpetually looked 13. So I think at the time,
the same height as he's been since he's 13.
yeah,
I think that helped.
yeah, he's always been really short.
I feel you. I'm feeling Michael.
I don't. So,
Where's my 5'5" squad at?
Your what? Your 5'5" squad?
5'5" squad.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, there's more out there for sure. Look,
There's dozens of us.
dozens
Dozens of us.
Isn't that from Arrested Development?
Yeah. It's the never nudes.
Yeah, there's dozens of us. Dozens. That's a great show.
No, I love it. I want to see how tall he actually is.
Michael J.
5'4"
Fox.
and a half. 5'4" and a quarter. I'm taller than Michael J. Fox.
Hey, silver linings.
By 0.25. Why'd they put the quarter in there? That's how you know he's short. He goes on 5'4" and a quarter.
He's like, yeah, trust me, I got the exact measurements. But okay, so Scott Howard, the Teen Wolf, 17 years old, whatever, and he's just like, so he's a shitty basketball player. He really likes this girl, even though he his like childhood friend Boof is like in love with him, and then like he's really into like the hottest girl in school. This is a very cut and paste story, guys. I don't know if we really have to explain what happened in Teen Wolf, but I mean we'll do it. Like if you guys haven't seen Teen Wolf yet, this is not a spoiler movie because it was made in 1985.
Yeah.
But like
This is a very 1980s movie, if that helps anybody. If you've seen one 1980s movie,
yeah, you've seen a good portion of them, and yeah, it's very cut and paste. So, but we will talk about some things like the soundtrack is incredible. I just like dumb shit like this. Like the soundtrack is so fucking weird.
it's so bizarre, and it just comes out of left field. Like, they'll be like, what was that song that they were playing? It was the Big Bad Wolf one. Where they're talking about like tearing up the Southern Shack and everything. Like they're walking into the dance.
Yeah.
Like, how does this fit?
It doesn't. I think it's they chose a song in the 80s that had the word wolf in it, and they were like, "This is gonna be perfect for our Teen Wolf movie." And they had like a dance. They had like a choreographed dance to the song, and they kept doing like the Thriller dance where they were like, it was ridiculous.
It was like a Thriller dance, but tweaked. It was the non-copyright version of the Thriller dance.
Yeah. Great value.
Exactly.
But then they so one of the funniest moments of this movie for me was the moment where he's like in the bathroom and his dad's knocking on the door and he's like, "Dad, you don't want to come in here right now?" And he's like, "It can't be that bad. What's going on?" And he's like, "Seriously? Don't." And he's just like, "Open the door." And he starts making weird noises like, he's like, "Dad, stop, I'm masturbating," basically, is what it seemed like. that's what I think they were trying to...
Like, oh.
He's like, and his dad's just like, he's just like, "Come on, I think I know what's going on in there." And then he's like, "I assure you, you don't." He's like, "Come on." And then he opens the door and his dad's a fucking werewolf too. And he's just like, I think I have some explaining to do.
Yeah, no shit, Dad.
That's basically his reaction. He's like, "Yeah, really? Oh, for real?"
And his dad, by the way, I thought his dad, he didn't look like a werewolf. He looked like a fucking monkey. He was like little gray hairs. Just his face was round. It looked like a fucking baboon. Not a baboon. He looked like
Is it like a macaw? Is that what they are? I don't know. I don't know my monkeys. They
It's a bird, I think.
yeah. There's like
I
a
think it's a Japanese monkey.
macaque.
Your cat?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a Japanese macaque.
Yeah, it's a macaque. That's what he looks like.
Your cat.
He looks like a macaque. He looks like macaque. We're 5 years old.
Yeah, that's why I still call him cheese toasty. Cheese.
I've always called them grilled cheese.
I like cheese toasty.
Yeah.
When we get a cheese toasty.
Well, just know that you're wrong. And I will fight over this.
You aren't grilling it.
You're not. What? You're pan frying it. I guess you could.
Yeah, well, if anything, in the middle, they are fried cheese sandwiches.
Yes. They're pan-fried cheese sandwiches. You
That's
could
not fun to say.
grill a cheese.
You
Like,
could.
yeah. So if you just
That would actually be pretty good.
probably and have the grill marks and stuff, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that.
Kind of makes me want to get one of those. Those what's that box here that made the little? It looks like a panini press. What are those things called? They're just like little grills.
George Foreman
Xbox
grill?
or what? Yeah. Makes me want to get one of those and make cheese toasties on it.
Or a panini press would work.
Grilled
I think.
cheese.
It'd be really flat grilled cheese, I think, but it would be really good, I think, as well.
Oh yeah. Actually, I have a panini press.
I'm gonna make me some
Shit,
grilled
I'm gonna
cheese
find
after
it.
we get off this. After we finish with the podcast, I think I might have to make myself some grilled cheese.
Oh, me too.
Sounds good
You
as
know
fuck. But anyway, we're gonna talk about this. The worst character in the movie, easily, is his friend Styles, who likes to. I don't understand what their hobby is because it's like they do something together where like, all right, one person's gonna be driving the van and playing music really loud, and then the other person's gonna be standing on top of the van, surfing on it. Like that is the most
So
dangerous.
it's like
And they're really good at it, which
It's
doesn't
like-
make any fucking sense.
they're very good at it. It's only the Beach Boys though, which makes
Yeah.
me think that they just drive around town listening to that same song on repeat. Like, they take turns riding on the top of the car.
Well, they're surfing USA, but they're only staying in their little small town.
surfing Rosebud Bowl. Pretty much what it is.
What is the town that they're in?
I don't know. I don't think it ever says.
It's a small town in Nebraska, is what it says here, but it doesn't actually say like what town they're in. Surfing Nebraska,
Beacon Hills.
Beacon Hills.
Wait. No, that's not. Oh, that's a TV series. God damn you, MTV.
Ugh.
Oh, the town's called Nebraska. Okay.
Surfing Nebraska.
Yeah, it doesn't say.
They made it a
Based in
fun.
Nebraska, filmed in California.
I think it's odd that they made this movie into a supernatural drama series for MTV.
I wonder if they took out the basketball.
I hope not. I've never seen the series. I will never see the series. I watched the Scream
never
series that MTV did, and I reluctantly made it all the way through that shithole of a series. That shit stain on media. But so I will never watch another MTV show again because I like the intellectual property for Scream. I love that franchise. And then they took a steaming dump on it. Much like the vice principal took a steaming dump in his pants whenever he first found out that Scott Howard's dad was a werewolf back in the day.
To be fair, they say bodily function. He lost his bodily function, but it's left up to interpretation, and he shit himself. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I thought he came whenever he first saw it, but
To be fair, if I saw somebody turn into a werewolf, I'd probably have a reaction. Jesus.
you're clenching your cheeks one way or another. But I think the best character in this movie is the coach. That motherfucker is always
Oh, yeah.
That motherfucker is always eating something, and he does not give a fuck what's happening in the game. Like, not a goddamn thing.
He doesn't care if it win or lose.
One of
He's
the
gonna eat that
first.
fucking hard-boiled egg regardless.
Yeah, he's like telling the kids, like, he's like, somebody go give me some salt. And they're just like, what? I'm in a game. He's like, give me some salt. he does not give a fuck. He's the best character in the movie, easily.
Hands down.
He's just like, and like sometimes he'll be like trying to like call plays, and he's just like mumbling them. The first scene you see him in, he's trying to forfeit the game. He's like, yeah, let's quit. We're losing 12-73 or some shit. Well, let's just go ahead and wrap this shit up. The other coach is like, yeah, well, we're trying to have a score. We got a scoring record here that we're trying to maintain. And he's like, I don't really care about that. I just kind of want to get the fuck out of here.
Like, I'm trying to beat the 5 o'clock traffic.
Yeah. It's like, don't you it's a win-win situation. You guys win the game. You guys also beat the 5 o'clock traffic. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. He's the best character.
Hands down.
Styles, more on him. He finds out that Scott is a werewolf, and then he wants to make a dickload of money off of it, and that's what he does. He does make a lot of money. And then they get into an argument later in the movie where like he's like what about all the people? What about all the fans? What about me? He's like, what the fuck about you, dude, you little self-centered piece of shit.
Yeah, it's fucking 80s movies always have a borderline sociopathic best friend. Like Styles in this one, I don't know what the best friend is from Fast Times, but Styles reminds me a lot of him.
Yeah.
It's just 80s out the ass.
This is probably the most
Very
80s movie I've ever watched.
Honestly, yeah.
Oh,
Sounds like maybe 16 Candles.
oh yeah, that's well, I mean, that's like the epitome of 80s, but like we're both 90s, like we were both born in the early 90s, so we really don't know what the fuck we're talking about. But every 80s movie I've ever seen has been like this or similar, but I think this is maybe one of the most 80s things I've ever fucking seen in my entire life.
Man, yeah.
I still can't get over the music. That soundtrack. Good God, it's so good.
It's just a bop, dude. It just keeps going and going and going. Never stops.
I'm gonna play it on repeat. I'm gonna learn the whole soundtrack. And then
I'm gonna come visit Shawn, and then he's gonna pull up and be just blasting the fucking werewolf song. Fucking big bad wolf song.
I'm gonna step it up. I'm gonna buy a guitar.
Why stop there? Get a fucking piano, fucking key necktie. Go whole 9 yards.
Get a guitar, maybe a couple actual guitars, and then we're gonna start a band, and we're just gonna cover this album, this soundtrack. We're gonna
we're gonna cover it, and we're gonna be dressed like Neil Breen, and we're gonna be covering Teen Wolf, but our band name's gonna be called Breen Wolf.
Breen Wolf. That's perfect. And there's gonna be a bunch of laptops everywhere. We're just gonna be spilling coffee and knocking them over and shit. That's our stage presence. We're chill.
Throwing them into the crowd.
We're just Neil Breen. But oh god, somebody's gonna die. Another funny part of this. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna add on to the laptop.
Do it.
Oh, we'll just be giving them out like sports, like in sports games. where they shoot like fucking t-shirts into the ground, just gonna toss old broken laptops into the ground.
We shoot him out of a cannon.
In recent news, 3 dead at the latest werewolf concert.
The body count continues to pile up.
But does this deter the werewolf? It does not. They went on record saying,
Fuck them kids.
if you can't handle it, fuck them kids.
Oh my god. That's great.
What were you about to say?
I was gonna say another funny moment of this movie kills me is that like what's his face? Styles is trying to get a keg of beer and he's just like a grown ass man, but he doesn't look like a grown man because he still looks the same. He's just got like sunglasses on and like a pea coat and he's just like, yeah, I'd like to get a keg, and then he tells a very like adult joke to the old man about like his law firm or some dumb shit. He's just like, get out.
Yeah, the boss wants it. He's throwing a party for the new guy. He just got out on parole. He's got a cigarette hanging from his mouth and everything.
Oh yeah.
But he still has this shirt underneath that says obnoxious on it.
Yeah. And then like he convinces Scott to go in there, and he's like, he gives him a water gun, and he's like, yeah, just go in there and try to get a keg from him, and then you'll still pay him. You're not actually robbing the guy. You're just gonna hold him up with this. Hands him a water gun. Clearly, it's a water gun, and he's just like, yeah, just go rob him. But you're not robbing him. You're actually paying him. Here's the money. He throws the gun in the front seat of the car. He's like, I don't need that shit. I'm just gonna go ask him. And then he goes in there and he's like, hey man, let me get a keg. And the old man's like, hey motherfucker, I told the other guy I'm not selling the keg to some little snot-nosed little shit. You dumb fuck. And then and then he's just like, his eyes get all red and he's like, I would like a keg. And then the old man's like, yeah, that's fair. Here's the, here it is.
Yeah, that's fair.
He's like, yeah.
Oh god, they're taking it to a party, but I don't know if this is the same with like all '80s movies, parties. They're doing some odd shit at this party.
Yeah.
Like they had hat with all the girls' names in it, and all the girls had a little piece of paper that had a guy's name on it. But they do shit like Chubb gets called up by a girl and he's got to eat a bowl of Jello, but they like put it inside of a girl's shirt. And like there's the whole time this is going on, there's like 2 people on the ground, like half naked, covered in whipped cream, just like tied at the hands to each other. It's just fucking bizarre.
They're kind of just like they're kind of just like flailing around on the ground, which is
yeah.
And they're not like touching each other either. They're just like they look like they're bound and they have just been like hit really hard in the head. Like if you've ever seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, there's that scene where like he hits him in the head and he's kind of just like twitching on the ground, and then he has to hit him again to kill him because he's just like flailing around on the ground and twitching and like kind of making like noises like and then he has to hit him again because he hit him so hard he's brain dead, but then he's just like flailing around and then he has to just put him out of his misery. It reminded me of that. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but
No.
That your reaction to what I said, that says it all. You're like, ugh.
No. But I mean, I can see where you're coming from because they were just kind of like, they didn't even look like they were trying to get out. They were just, like you said, just flailing on the ground. It was just a bizarre scene. There's a lot of just bizarre, unnecessary scenes in the movie. Like Scott asks Booth to the dance, and
Yeah. What the fuck was
she's
that?
like, I'm gonna go with you and not the wolf. He's like, well, I'm gonna go as the. And then she's like, well, I guess I don't have a date. And he's like, still dance. Of course I will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It just
that defeats the whole purpose.
you cut out just a little bit, but it got a little bit of, we got the gist, I think, because you were just explaining that, yeah, so basically, she was just like, she's like, I'm not going to go to the dance unless you come as yourself. And then he was like, well, everybody wants the wolf to be there. And then she's like, well, I don't. And I'm not going to go if you're the wolf. And he's like, well, you wouldn't want to dance with a wolf then, would you? And she's like, yeah, I'll do it. Like, what the fuck? Like,
completely unnecessary.
yeah.
It
Like,
could have been a deleted scene.
didn't you have to do that? Because it just, like, the whole thing, it just defeated the purpose of the whole scene. It could have just been like, hey, you want to go to the dance with me? Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Cut out the rest
Honestly,
of the
yeah.
shit. I think they were trying. Go ahead.
I was just saying, like, they basically still went to they didn't go together. They still dancing and kissing in the hallway. Like, they were together at the dance.
Yeah.
Like, it does redundant.
Yeah. Even though he wanted to dance with, what was her name? What was the girl he was into? Pamela?
Pamela, yeah.
Yeah. He was into a girl named Pamela, the hottest girl in school. And that's the girl. Pamela's the girl he fucks in wolf form. We were making jokes that, like, because she like kind of turned him down after they had sex. So they do it in the theater. They have sex in the theater, the dressing room, while he's a wolf. And then it sounds weird coming out of my mouth. Like, it's like they had sex while he was a wolf. So, but like after that, she's like, I'm still dating Mick. And then he's the hairy guy who plays for the other basketball team. I thought he went to their school.
Me too. I honestly thought.
Yeah.
It's so fucking stupid. Like, how would Styles know that he is? First of all, he's a 20-year-old senior. He is a super senior.
Yeah.
Super senior.
Yeah.
How would Styles know that he's a super senior if he goes to a different school? Maybe
Right.
I just didn't. I didn't know anybody in like different schools. Like maybe that's a normal thing.
Yeah.
It's just.
I mean, it is a small town. It's a small town, though. Why is there two different schools in that? Unless it's not. Maybe they live in a different town, too. They didn't really explain much at all.
No.
Which is
like Shawn said, it's a basketball movie.
Yeah, it's a basketball movie disguised as something different. Not really. It's kind of just a sports movie that just happens to have Michael J. Fox dressed like a werewolf.
It's Air Bud with adult jokes.
Yeah. Styles drops the F-bomb. Not fuck, but the other one. The bad one. And so does Michael J. Fox. The 80s were not the greatest of times.
Yeah.
Not that I would know.
And it's not like. Well, the 80s movies are a time machine. And from what I've seen, they say some slurs.
Yeah. 90s they also do it too. They like Maverick, where he was like, you smell like refried beans to a Hispanic person.
Oh, yeah, that was. Those scenes just make me uncomfortable. Like, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
The refried beans joke did kind of make me laugh a little bit, like, but like to just blatantly be like, "What are you, some kind of homo or something?" Like that's. I didn't say the actual word that was
Yeah.
used, but like, what are you, a gay person? But you know,
Yeah, and then he was like, after he said it, he was like, because you say that I don't. He basically hinted that he would freak out and probably not, which is also really bad.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're starting to cut out a little bit more now. Like the last recording we did, it was really good. And this one is kind of like
Uh,
a little bit more spotty, but
is
yeah,
it? God,
it's fine. So
it's fine. It's fine.
basically, he was just like, I'm not gonna be friends with you anymore if you liked men. Basically, if you were a gay man,
Basically,
I would not be friends. Yeah. So that's not great. I'm glad.
It's a very weird.
I'm glad we've gotten out of making stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure
No,
I'm sure it still exists, but it's like the directors are probably actually just homophobes themselves. If that's
Oh yes, writer too probably.
or if it's like a plot device where like somebody is in a movie that is homophobic, that's fine too. Because it's just really just showing off that like this shit still does exist and it's not like okay. Like a director
It's
can
definitely not.
a director could put homophobia in a movie and use it as a device to be like, hey, don't be like this guy, and that's fine.
It's whenever they say shit like Styles did, where it's not fine. It's very uncomfortable to watch scenes like that.
Yeah, but fuck it. It's the '80s. We're just gonna gloss over the fact that shit happened in this fucking weird ass movie. It's not even the worst part about this movie.
This movie is just a travesty.
I liked it, but for all the wrong reasons. It was just
Same.
I can't get over it. I can't get over how fucking weird it is. I'm not
It
joking
had a
about.
charm to it. But
Yeah, it did have a charm.
it had a charm, but it was still just a clusterfuck. It's very 80s movies have this really bad habit of just being these clusterfucks of just a lot of shit going on. And it's just they have like a loose plot. And that's basically the loose plot of this was Scott wanted to play basketball and he wanted to win the championship. But it kind of like it was all this other shit going on at the same time. It was weird.
He was
in a play.
Yeah, he was doing a school play with Pamela, who was the only other person in this play. That's why they hooked up in the dressing room, because they're the only two people in this play, and he's playing like a Confederate soldier or something. Or maybe he was a Union soldier, because he's trying to burn down.
His Union. I think
Yeah, because he was trying to burn down her plantation.
Yeah, he was Union.
Yeah, that makes more sense. I was like, and he was like, "I'm gonna burn this house down," and she's like, "No, don't burn my plantation down. You can ravage my body, or you can fuck my sheep, or whatever the fuck." Or she said,
No,
"You
I'm pretty
could."
sure that's what she said.
She's like, you can break my body. You can fuck my body. But don't burn down my plantation. And he was like, no, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to burn it down, though. And then, that was that was the whole scene. And then the fucking director of the theater director, he looks like Dimitri Martin. And he's like, he has some of the funniest acting. He's like, what was that? And he gets up on stage. He's like, "Look at me. You either be the wolf, or you're not gonna play this part." And then Michael J. Fox is like, "Yeah, I don't want this part. Am I getting paid? Like, what the fuck? I don't want this shit." Like, he just leaves.
He just walks out. I think, well, that backfired.
He's like, "This isn't gonna shoot me to superstardom or anything. This is a fucking high school play."
With one other actor in it.
Yeah. Like, I don't think anybody has ever, like, gone to a high school play and was like, "This kid's got it." I don't think that's ever happened.
He's got what it takes.
There's, like, just some scouters. Like, I know people people go to high schools to scout for sports, but there's not, like, people, like, you don't see Nicole Kidman sitting in a high school gym, and she's just like, yeah, well, we're gonna sign that kid once they're done with school. like once they're done
I like
here.
to imagine it's some like big like scummy dude with like a big cigar out of his mouth. He's like, "Look, kid, we can take you to Hollywood, and you're gonna be one of the stars."
We're gonna take you right to the top, kid. You're gonna be banging starlets before you're even out of high school.
Fucking just like, and then like afterwards he's like, "Okay, all I need $2,000. I can get you to."
Yeah, you cut out a little bit. Were you saying like $2,000? I'll get you to Hollywood.
Yeah, basically just the guy, just a big scumbag.
Yeah, it's like
Big cigar sticking out.
it's like what was the alien from Space Jam? The boss guy. It's Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Like $2,000, and then it's like $2,000, and you'll get a pot and get all this exposure. It's like when bands, like local bands, are trying to play a show, and they're like, "Yeah, but you're gonna have to put these flyers out and sell tickets, and you don't get a cut of any of that. You just get exposure." Like, fuck you.
Yeah. Okay, fuck exposure. I want my $50.
Yeah. How am I supposed to eat my McChickens for the night if you don't give me my $50?
Look, man, I haven't eaten in 2 days. I'm counting on the $50 to give you some McChickens. I want to buy 45 McChickens with this and $5 in gas.
I have to get a quarter tank of gas. I have to pay half my light. I have to pay a quarter of my light bill, and I still have to get a McChicken. I can't do that I can't do that with exposure.
Yeah. So let me just call Amber and tell him that don't worry about the light bill. I've got exposure.
Yeah. It's like, hey, I got some really good exposure last night. Oh yeah, that'll pay the bill. Really? No. Give me my. It's like, bitch, I'm working at a Steak and Shake trying to actually pay my bills. I'm not making that. This is actually getting way too real right now.
Shawn's having flashbacks. Shawn, snap out of it.
This shit actually happened. Oh my god.
Oh, when we were kids.
It's like. Anyway, we got a little too real. Let's see.
Where were we in this synopsis?
We kind of just jumped around because there's just parts of the movie that make no goddamn sense. We've talked about we've talked about the school dance. We've talked about the soundtrack. We've talked about him boning Pamela as the wolf. We've talked about the bully. Yeah.
Talked about Chubb.
Yeah, Chubb. Chubb is pretty cool. He's a pretty interesting character.
I like Chubb.
Yeah. So the first time you meet him, Michael J. Fox, is he goes to the locker room after the their abysmal effort at trying to play basketball. They lose 71-13 or something like that. And then he goes and he's like, I can smell that liver that's in your locker. He's like, underneath this dirty ass sock. It's like, yeah. He's like,
Yeah.
it's like, thought you're supposed to be dieting, fat boy, or some shit, or chubs. Yeah, and then, yeah, so he's just like, yeah, I have this liver underneath all of my sweaty, dirty clothes. Not a big deal.
MBD.
In BD. So that's cool. Chubbs is great. He's
I like Chubbs.
also apparently really good at basketball. They try to reveal that later, whenever you already know that because he's on a basketball team. But they're like,
I would have thought the guy on the basketball team good at basketball. Huh.
yeah, they were like, shoot the ball, fatty, shoot the ball, and he was just like, okay, he just like, shut it, and he like,
fucking drained it too. Like,
yeah.
nothing but net.
Nothing but that. It's just like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm good at this. It's like, this team may suck, but I'm good. And there's supposed to be like
I do.
one star player. There's a bunch of weird like plot, like little subplots where it none of it gets talked about much, but there's like a subplot where like the basketball team is jealous that the Teen Wolf, Michael J. Fox, is stealing all their thunder, because he's even stealing the ball from his teammates to score, and that counts as an assist, by the way. I think.
Does it really?
I think so. Like if you, I would count that as a pass if you were to steal the ball from your teammate, like. Maybe make it look like a handoff or something, but like stealing the ball from your teammate and then like going in and dunking that shit, I'd count that as an assist. But whatever.
Or sportsmanship, but I mean, assist, yeah.
Yeah, like this movie shows a lot of poor everything, but
Bonkers.
Scott Howard is a fucking shit show of a person. His friend Styles is a sociopath. Like, what was up with like the mid 80s to like maybe even early 80s? Like, so the 80s and 90s, the protagonist of movies like Ferris Bueller, sociopath, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Scott Howard, sociopath, piece of shit. It's just like a thing for like movies like this where we're supposed to be rooting for somebody, but we're like, why would I root for them? They're kind of a shitbag.
Yeah.
It's just like
So that's how I felt about Jake Gyllenhaal in the last movie. It's like we're supposed to be like rooting for him to find it, to help this girl, but he's just kind of an asshole.
Yeah, he's a douche. It's a common trend for sure. Like, and definitely there are movies where you'll get a protagonist who's like, yeah, I really like this guy, and there's a really likable and cool and like looks like you could have a beer with this guy, but like Scott Howard, you literally could not have a beer with this guy because he's a teen. And he's also a wolf. Nobody wants to give a beer to a wolf. I mean...
No.
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 uh,
I feel like that'd be animal abuse.
Another funny thing to me is that their team mascot is a beaver, and then they'll... Like, their mascot, their actual mascot, looks nothing like a beaver.
Bingo tonight?
Until like the very end of the movie, there's a beaver, and then it kind of has a tail that looks like a ball sack, so it's just like bouncing around.
It's like it's got this like stupid long skinny head. Like, I know beavers have like a skinny nose, but like they don't have the pinhead.
Yeah, it looks like a weasel, like a rabid
Yeah,
weasel.
it
This is some good, some good shit.
does. Yeah.
So yeah, they go to this spring dance. We're just jumping around. It doesn't fucking matter. This
Movie jumps around too.
yeah, this movie's fucked. We're not always gonna go in order. We kind of did for The Guilty, but that's the kind of movie where like you kind of have to follow along like beat for beat. But it's just like this movie. I swear you could.
It's
Go ahead.
it's so like it's very obvious what's gonna happen in the movie just from like the very beginning. That's why we kind of just jump around because like you already know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, you know it's
Like,
gonna happen.
it's just, huh?
I was just filling in the blanks because it was like you know what's gonna happen from the beginning, and you already know what's gonna happen from the beginning, and then yeah, you said something else. I can't remember what it was.
Did I cut out?
Yeah, a little bit, a couple times. It was like maybe
Basically, it's very formulaic, is what I'm trying to say.
yeah. I feel like most movies are formulaic, but like the formula they follow is just like cut and paste sports movie, and really you can kind of cut this movie up and put it in. So like there's certain scenes that have to happen for another scene to happen, but that's just kind of like you can cut up this movie
Yeah.
and stick different scenes in other places and really kind of just move things around, and it really doesn't change much at all.
Like you could just take all the basketball scenes, put them towards the end, and then take all the other scenes and put them in the beginning. Still,
Yeah.
it'd still be coherent enough to be.
Yeah, you cut out completely now. Is that coherent enough to...
Be a movie.
Yeah, okay. That helps. So... yeah,
I don't know why I'm cutting out now of all times. Like, we were
yeah, we were...
like,
Yeah, we were definitely fine last episode. Next time, maybe actually like plug your computer into an Ethernet cable or something, or I don't know if you can do that.
it's. I tried to move it closer, but and there's nowhere to put it over here. I have to rearrange the put it closer.
Yeah. I feel like every time I have a podcast with somebody, it's always like the other person that's having like technical issues. It's perfectly fine.
I know, and I even like upgraded my internet, so hopefully that would like solve it. But I mean, it helped a little bit. But
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely better. Maybe your computer's just been on too long. It's just like,
Ooh,
all right.
yeah.
After the first episode, it was that we recorded today because we recorded 2 today just to catch up. Maybe his computer's just like, I'm not doing so well.
Take me out, coach. I'm done. It's like a gaming computer from like 2006.
Oh my god.
Top of the line, fucking like 15 years ago. That's why I want to upgrade this baby pronto dente.
You have a good job now, so that shouldn't take too long, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just make sure bills are paid, bellies are full, and anything else I just kind of that I don't necessarily have to put towards something. I just put it towards a computer. It's gonna take a while, but I'll get it eventually.
Yeah. I think one of the there's also a moment where they were like doing like 7 minutes in heaven It was Boof, his friend Boof,
yeah.
and he like claws the shit out of her back on accident, and she kind of just walks out like nothing happened. She's like, and then she's just like, yeah, he scratched my back, kind of hot.
Kind of hot. And they weren't like little. They were like gashes in her fucking shirt.
Yeah, and she's walking out like nothing happened, and then they were still cool after that. She's like, "Hey, watch your nails," while she was shoving her tongue in his throat, which is, I mean, good for him. Boof, kind of hot. I don't know what she looked like now, but in this movie, I get it. Susan,
I can't.
I understand. Oh, her name was Lisa Marconi.
Wait, what?
Lisa Boof Marconi. If you click on her name, you can see that. So we've been wondering what her name was this entire time, and it just showed that her name was Boof.
Yeah, they never said her name, did they? Even it even says just Boof on the IMDb.
Huh. Yeah, I just looked up Susan Ursitti. This is the girl who played her. Best known for her performance as Boof in 1985's Teen Wolf. She was also in The Walking Dead. Oh, 1995. I was like, nuh-uh. She only had a career from 1982 to 1995. And she only did one movie she did 2 movies in 88. Doing Time on Planet Earth and Defense Play. But, yeah.
I did. Finally. Oh,
She-
no.
She was in a movie called Zapped. Again,
Shit.
Zapped. It's an American teen sex comedy.
Movie called what? Oh, Jesus.
Oh, it's got Scott Baio in it. Gross. Didn't he have like a show on VH1? Now we're just skipping around again. It's like we were talking about Teen Wolf. And we're like, didn't Scott Baio have a show on VH1? It was called.
I don't know.
It was called Scott. Wasn't it like Scott Baio finds a wife or something like that? So one of those dumbass shows.
Oh, it sounds like Rock of Love.
Oh, Scott Baio is 45 and single. That's what it was called. In 2008, Scott Baio was 45 and single.
Oh. So Scott Baio was in Super Babies Baby G2.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Good God, we
He
cannot.
was
we can't
Stan
escape.
Bobbin.
Wait. This is really off topic, but I'm looking up Scott Baio was 45 and single. The executive producer of that show is none other than Eric Bischoff of WCW fame. The guy who owned WCW from 1996 on to 2001. That's crazy.
Fucking crazy. Small fucking world.
Yeah. What the fuck, Eric Bischoff? Like, I know you're a weird dude,
Holy
but
shit.
what the fuck?
Scott Baio was in Arrested Development.
Huh.
He was Bob Blah Blah.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, I guess so.
Blah, blah, blah? That's fucking crazy. Blah, blah, blah.
Bob Blah Blah. Bob Blah 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 book.
blah 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 blah. Blah blah blah. It is. It's Scott Baio. He's this. He has the best name in the goddamn show. Yeah, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
He's a lawyer too. That show is fucking genius, dude.
I need to watch it again. It's been so long since I've seen it.
At least like the first 2 seasons of it are like the best. Or 3 seasons? It's like the first 3 seasons.
I think, was it 3 seasons before Netflix took it?
Yeah, I think so. Because I know they got canceled. Let's see. So, Bob Blah Blah. He only came around in season 3. It looks like. Bob Blah Blah.
Blah blah blah.
Bob Blah Blah.
It's so fun to say.
His name is Bob Blah Blah.
Hey, Shawn, are you down to go to box office bingo tonight?
Give me one moment.
He was one of the best.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, all good.
It's fine. We'll just cut out whatever was dead air. Yeah. Blah blah blah. But just had to get one more.
Bob Blah Blah was a really good character, but my favorite character from that show was the doctor who kept. He came in whenever the dad went to the hospital, and he goes up to the family. He's like, "It's about your father. We lost him," and they're all like freaking out and crying. He's like, "What happened?" Like, well, he kind of got out of the room, and we don't know where he's at. They all he does it every time. Like, he's always like misconstruing. I guess that's the word.
Misconstruing.
Yeah, misconstruing. Yeah, I graduated high school. I know words.
Me too. Never been to college.
I went for half a semester.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you're looking at a half of a semester art here.
Oh my gosh. But I mean, it's fucking Teen Wolf. I'm sure you fucking seen it.
It's been around for like 25 years plus.
Yeah, it's a fucking trip. One of the best scenes is whenever they're like fighting. So it's at the school dance, and then Scott is now I'm just thinking about Scott Baio every time I say Scott. So he's talking to Pamela, and then Mick, he's also hairy as fuck. He just like swings, hits him right in the mouth, and then he drops, and then he gets up, he werewolves up. He's like, all right, and he like rips his shirt, and like also leaves kind of like a gash in his chest. Like, yeah, okay, maybe expel anybody who is a fucking werewolf. Because that's just gonna keep happening. And the vice principal knows damn well that he's a werewolf. Like, because he spends most of the movie as a werewolf running amok in the school. Like, it's
Yeah. Like, and he knows his dad, and he's terrified of his dad.
yeah.
So you think that he would be on that shit? Like, he was. I mean, he was on it, but he wasn't like trying to take any like necessary action to get him out of there. He just kind of waited for an opportunity to strike.
Yeah, and then that was it. And then after that happens, his dad, I guess he just knows that something's going down, where he's like, he's about to expel my son. So he just like shows up behind everything, and he's just like, you're not going to expel my kid. And he starts growling at him, and then he shits his pants again. So that's funny. Ha ha ha. People pooping their pants is the best, is the funniest thing.
Top tier comedy. Poop and fart jokes.
When in doubt, make a fart joke.
Oh, they're going to say poo it out.
When in doubt, poo it out. Oh yeah, the vice principal's name is Rusty Thorn. Yeah, can't make that shit up.
Oh, his parents hated him. No wonder he's a dick.
Yeah. So all that happens. Scott, Harold defends his son. Blah 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 blah. And then, it says that the vice principal wet himself. We know what shitting yourself looks
he
like.
Pooped himself.
That's
Exactly. He pooped himself.
So Scott, I said squat. No, I was about to say squat. Scott, he's like, hey, I don't want to be a part of this basketball team unless I'm myself. So he shows up late to the championship game. Like, just walks in. There's no fanfare. He didn't just show up to a chorus of applause or anything. He just walks in. And everybody.
Staring at him.
Everybody's just like, what the fuck, dude? Why are you late? Oh, it's
Where's
because
all your hair?
It's because he quit, right? And that's why they were surprised, because he showed up in uniform. Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, did he quit? Because he just said he was gonna play the game as, and then he was. Did he actually quit? Because I don't remember him actually quitting. He just kept talking about the whole movie. He's just talking about quitting.
Yeah, because he wanted to do theater with Pamela or whatever, and he was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna quit playing basketball. And then he becomes a werewolf on the court and just starts fucking dunking on people, posterizing children. Kind of. They're all 30. But you're right. So he shows up. He's like, all right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this as myself. And then they start slowly but surely getting the score evened up. It takes a while. This is a montage. This is long. And then and this is basically the end of the movie. So it gets to a point where he's just getting his ass kicked by Mick, right? He's on the other team. Every time Mick hits him, that's a foul, right? Keep that in mind. Mick is beating the fuck out of him at every turn. He's just there's one point where he's running down the court and all Mick does is put his arm out and clotheslines the shit out of him. That's funny.
I'm surprised he didn't get. I'm surprised he didn't get ejected right then and there.
Yeah.
Because that's blatant.
Yeah.
He would eject you so fast.
He was just boom, clothesline. And there's a couple where he just runs into him and gut checks him. That's that should be what I don't know what I'm saying. That should be an ejection. That should be an ejection right there. But it doesn't happen. But he's like, yeah, one more time you hit me, you're out of the game. And that's Scott to Mick. He's like, one more time, you can't do it again. You're gonna go. You're gonna get kicked off the team. And then and he's like,
Starting to sound like Jake Gyllenhaal.
he's like, yeah, fuck you, you little bitch. And then so Scott gets fouled again by Mick, but it's right at the last second. They're I think it's 50-51. And Mick hits he hits the shit out of him one more time, and then he kind of like stumbles to his feet, and then he's like, "All right, I gotta take these free throw shots at 0," and then of course, it takes forever, and he's just dribbling the ball. You hear the sounds. It's like do, do, do. Shoots the first one, makes it. Crowd goes mild, and then. And then he's dribbling again, and then super slow-mo now. Super slow. And then he shoots the ball. Just like in the beginning of the movie, he shoots it, but this time, instead of it rimming out, instead of giving that ball the old rim job, it bounces around the rim and then goes in. And then the crowd actually loses their shit. And they're like, "Oh, fuck yeah. Good job, Scott. You did a good job. You did a good thing there." And then Mick and Pamela are like, "We gotta get the fuck out of here." And then Pamela's like, "Why don't you just get the fuck out of here?" And then she walks off. And then Michael J. Fox, I assume, gets the girl, but not Pamela. Because he doesn't want Pamela anymore. He kisses Boof instead.
Boof.
And embraces his father. And he's like, "I love you, Daddy." Like Shrek 3.
I love you, Daddy.
I love you, Daddy.
Come on, Daddy. Do the roar.
Yes. Do the roar. Roar. I love you, Daddy.
Oh, and you called it too at the end. Chubb got Rudied. He got hoisted above everybody.
Yeah, I knew that was gonna happen. And then, but we also called that they would drop him. They did not. They actually just picked him up.
Oh. They might have. Because they picked him up for a second, and then a couple scenes later, Scott was getting picked up. So they might have just been like, just pick up Scott.
Yeah, it's like we can't do this.
You've had your time, Chubb. It's Scott's turn now.
And he's like 14, even though he's in his like 20s. Yeah. So that's Teen Wolf. The 1985 movie, not the MTV show that I've never watched. And
Never will.
And never will. So, what did you think?
Well, it's definitely a movie.
Mm-hmm.
It gave me the same kind of like quasi nostalgia because
You cut out.
that most 80s movies give me. Did I?
It actually came back, and then you just maybe you just didn't talk because you kind of maybe it was just a pause because like you were just like it gave me the same quasi.
Oh yeah, I took a little pause. I also kind of
yeah.
leaned back too far. Might have moved from the mic a little bit, but it gave me that like pseudo nostalgia that 80s movies give me. I wasn't alive in the 80s. Not gonna be like that nostalgic about it, but it was interesting to watch. Clusterfuck of a movie, but I mean I enjoyed it. Good laughs.
What would you rate it on a scale of 10?
I will give it 3 long strands of chest hair out of 10.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that. It's just this long strand of chest hair in the locker room, and he just pulls it off. That would hurt like a motherfucker.
It was thick too. It was like fucking like 8 inches of just this long ass strand of hair.
But Pamela likes them hairy. She's gonna. So she gets denied by Scott. She didn't go with Mick she's gonna end up dating a badger next. Or an actual dog. She's like, this is my boyfriend. This is my boyfriend Rover, and we've been dating. We've been dating for only 1 human year. That's 7 years for him.
He's very committed.
He's very loyal. He does whatever I say. Sometimes I tell him to sit and he just does it, and I tell him to shake my hand. He's so good at shaking hands.
And he loves my friends. He's always up their ass. He just loves them.
Quite literally, he's just always sniffing their ass.
He's just the craziest little guy.
He's super sweet.
He might be a Yorkie, but he's got that golden retriever kind of vibe.
Sometimes he has just too much energy, though, and I don't know what to do with him.
And it's times like that I put him in his cage and I walk away. But you know, every relationship has their ups and downs. What would you rate this movie, Shawn?
Oh man. Honestly, I would give this a 5. Only, well, no. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5. Only because, no.
Soundtrack.
That soundtrack makes me want to give it a 5 so bad. But that doesn't mean that the movie was good. The soundtrack being as weird as it is. Like, the soundtrack's not good either. It's just weird, and that's what makes me like it. I'm going to learn every word, and it's going to be great. But honestly, if I have to rate it as a movie, I'm going to give it a 2. It's cut and paste. It's horrible. It's got some really negative shit in it. It's homophobic at times. It's not good.
No.
Teen Wolf sucks.
Yeah, it does. It sucks bad.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 2. Yeah.
That's fair.
I was gonna give it a 5 because of the soundtrack.
That soundtrack gave it 3 whole fucking points.
It's got 3 whole fucking great songs. I bet. I'm sure the rest of it is gonna be fine. But Big Bad Wolf, Shooting for the Moon, and Win in the End. Those are some of the best goddamn songs I've ever heard in my entire life.
Are those the actual song names?
Yeah, Big Bad Wolf, Win in the End, which we didn't talk about that. There's a song called Win in the End that they're playing during the montage of them winning the basketball game. Like, how on the nose can you fucking get? It's so stupid.
Wait a second. There's a Teen Wolf movie that's coming out next year.
I think it's based on the MTV series. Apparently, it got like. Apparently, it was like good enough for them to keep making that show.
Oh no!
They did it in 2000. They started that in 2009. Is what I'm seeing. Yeah, and then it ran until like. Oh, it aired for 6 seasons from 2011 to 2017. It was greenlit in 2009. Ugh. From the
Even make
from
it a TV show. No one who's watching that it was alive.
Yeah. From the creator of Criminal Minds.
Oh.
Fuck off. That's the dumbest shit. He's like, yeah, I did a crime drama TV show. Let's make a horror movie about a comedy that was made in 1985, and let's make it a horror drama centered around teenagers, and one of them is a wolf.
He's like, yeah, I watched Teen Wolf as a kid, but I kept thinking, like, where's the blood? Where's the blood? So I added it.
Why is this motherfucker not eating people? And how does he know how to play basketball?
The TV show is basically just an homage.
Yeah, it seems like it. But like, hopefully they at least play some basketball in that show. I don't know. My girlfriend would know.
I hope so.
I think she's seen it.
Has she?
I think so. Because like I was.
Sorry.
Just says he's sorry. And I also apologize. You should watch Teen Wolf the movie.
Oh yeah. It's nothing like it.
It's well, that was the review of Teen Wolf 1985. And I guess we've already reviewed it. We can just go ahead and get into what we're going to be watching next. So let me go ahead and share my screen, my handy dandy screen.
The Teen Wolf soundtrack has a 4.78 out of 5.
Oh, I believe it. 100% I believe that. Have you heard that? Have you heard it?
Yeah. It's unfortunately.
Oh, so good. All right.
Hopefully you don't cut out this time.
All right. Now we're gonna choose. Well, I guess we're not choosing. The randomizer will now choose what we're gonna be watching next, and eventually we'll have some guests on, which is gonna be fun. But
Yeah.
So, in 3, 2, 1. My Bloody Valentine 3D. Better get your 3D glasses out, because we're gonna watch My Bloody Valentine, a remake of a horror classic, My Bloody Valentine 3D. I heard this one's actually pretty gory, so this.
Oh god.
Yeah, this is not going to be fun for Joe at all, but I'm going to be stoked about it. I have actually not seen this version of My Bloody Valentine, so I'm actually kind of pumped for it. I know it came out in 2009.
I think I watched it a while ago.
I was a junior in high school when this came out.
I was a freshman.
So yeah, so this is a remake of My Bloody Valentine. Yeah, I guess they did it in 3D. We don't have to. Obviously, we're not going to watch this in 3D because we don't have 3D glasses. But unless you do, I don't fucking know. But
No, I don't.
you're like, oh, we're not going to watch it in 3D. So yeah, we are going to. That's going to be another movie that we're going to have to rent, but that's okay. Yeah, we're going to watch My Bloody Valentine 3D, and we will be reviewing that shit. I love horror and slashers and just pretty much anything that has to do with horror, because that's just a subgenre. But yeah, this is going to be.
I like horror in theory. I just don't like the blood
Yeah.
and all that.
So it's gonna be fun for me. But
I'll watch. I'll be missing out on a lot of it. I'm assuming there's gonna be a lot of blood.
I'll fill you in. I'll be like, oh, that dude just got his cut throat by a pickaxe or stabbed through the throat. And you're like, stop.
Oh, there's intestines everywhere.
But with that being said, I think we are done with this episode, and I hope you guys had a good time while we, traveled to 1985 and watched that.
Yeah, that's basically all you can really say about that.
that thing, that abomination that was made. I'm sure it was a big hit too in 1985.
Oh, it was. It was.
Because everybody was on that. Everybody was on that Michael J. Fox train. So let's see what it grossed. The budget was 1.2 million. The box office was 80 million. It did well. That's a lot.
Yeah, it did very, very well.
Yeah. I'm assuming budgets were a lot lower back then. Like 1.2 million, that seems like nothing for what movies get made for now.
Yeah, movies get made for 80 million.
They get made for like what it made, what Teen Wolf made.
Yeah.
It was released 10 days after my birthday. I wasn't born in 1985 though. That'd be crazy. Like I'm a little baby child, and now I'm gonna go to the theater and cry and ruin Teen Wolf for everyone. And now here I am, many years later, ruining Teen Wolf for everyone. Anyway, yep, that is the episode, and we had fun. We watched this movie. We laughed. We cried. We came.
Cried a lot. Cried a lot more than life. Came buckets.
We came. We saw. We came again. But yeah. Anyway, have a great rest of whatever time of day it is while you're listening, and
Whatever year.
Yeah, and whatever year. Maybe it's 1985. Maybe you have a time machine. I don't fucking know. Have a good one.
Ooh. Love you guys.
Yeah. Bye. Mwah. Bye.
Mwah.